Hello, everybody. Zon gets 134 here.
And as always, I'm Measure Joe Squad.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. And welcome back once again to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Wolverine.
We're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done. We got 2 more reviews coming up, and we're also leading into the big 100.
Which is crazy to think about. We're going to be at fucking episode 100.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
it doesn't seem like that long ago. We were at like, what, episode 8?
Yeah, it's still surreal that we've been doing this for 3 seasons, and we're on like 2 years.
Yeah, which is just wild.
So anyway, we're doing things a little bit out of order, I think.
Yeah, we are doing this a little bit out of order because we really want to save probably the best X-Men movie for episode 100.
Yeah, and the second one for 99 because I
That's
feel
why
like
our Loki thing and our Long Halloween were specials.
Yeah,
because I wanted to. 100 is going to be special, and I think we picked a great movie.
I think we did pick
for 100. That's going to be a great one to talk about. But in order to do that, we kind of had to like combine some stuff.
Yeah, because
we already did Origins Wolverine and The Wolverine together, so we figured why not do First Class? Wow, that glare was awful, my bad. And Apocalypse. Let's just do these two back to back because they basically are the same universe. And Days is good enough that it deserves its own episode.
No, honestly, I would agree.
Plus, there's a director's cut of Days we're also going to talk about. So,
also that just because I feel like these ones we don't have as much to talk about just because they're the beginning of the
First Class universe,
which. I remember when those came out, I mostly heard negative stuff, or like, at least with First Class. I know a lot of people liked it.
What was it like 10-year-old comic purist me was just like, they're like, oh, this is First Class. I'm like, where's Jean? Where's Iceman? Where's Cyclops? Where's Beast?
Yeah.
Like, this is not
the
original X-Men class. That was what annoyed me.
Yeah, because this is actually technically the First Class based on the graphic novel, which is technically an origin for Magneto and Professor Xavier meeting each other. Yeah, Charles. So this is technically like, well, they do call it the First Class. I consider it more like the beginnings of Professor Xavier, like wanting to open his school as well as just starting the X-Men. To be fair, I remember when this came out, I was kind of interested because I was like, ooh, this looks kind of cool because it's doing like mutants I'd never heard of, and they're doing like a whole like going back to like the 60s sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like doing like a time travel thing, which is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool, but I do get why you didn't like it too. And to be fair, even though I did like it, I do have some pretty big problems with the film.
An interesting thing with this movie too is that when I started getting back into the films and starting to collect these, this was one of the ones I had a hard time finding. Yeah. Because I do a lot of secondhand store shopping, I do a lot of online stuff. This was always like, I didn't want to get it online because I was like, X-Men 1, 2, 3, found them at Big Lots. Days of Future Past, found it out thrifting. Apocalypse, found it out. Apocalypse, not only did I see in the theater, I also found it at a thrift store. Dark Phoenix, I had found all these reasonably while I was out thrifting. So I was like, well, stands the reason I will come across this. Well, longest time, I could not find a copy of this. I couldn't find it in the bargain bins. I couldn't find it just sold by itself because when they did those limited edition steel books, which I kind of kicked myself for not getting, I had every other fucking movie in that pack. And I'm like, I don't want to buy 3 movies just to get one I don't have. Well, then one day I'm out thrifting and I found this like DVD pack that's like X-Men 1, 2, 3, First Class. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I open it up. First Class's DVD is not in it.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, all the other ones, I bought it anyway because...
Yeah, because you needed it.
It's a variant. I like variants. But I was just like, why? Why can't I find this fucking movie?
No, that sucks,
the next week, bam, found this at the same store. I was like, first thing I did was I opened it. I'm like, is it in there? And I'm like... So, like, the only one I don't have on Blu-ray right now is Origins Wolverine, but I have it on DVD. So... And that is so like low priority, me getting it on Blu-ray. Yeah. If I run into it, I'll get it, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way unless like it goes on sale on Prime for like what $5 or some shit, and then I'll be like, okay, that's tempting. I'm not wasting too much money.
And unfortunately, I never saw this until we just watched this today because this was coming out when I was in college. Yeah. I remember being interested in it. The problem was a lot of my friends weren't because by this point like a lot of the X-Men films were not considered very good.
This came out when I was a sophomore in college.
Yeah, so I was probably...
Because I went and saw this in the theater.
Yeah. couple years after I graduated, I think. But I remember when it came out, and not only that, like I couldn't really go out to theaters, so I had to wait for it to come out in the Dollar Theater at my campus if it did come out then. And unfortunately, I just never saw it. Apocalypse Armor, I remember when that came out, nobody liked it, which
when you told me that, I was really like kind of, which we'll get into, but like I went and saw this in the theater like opening month.
Yeah.
And I really liked this. So like when he was telling, like, not only when he was telling me this and when I was like looking online for reviews, I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I thought this was good. I mean, I had grievances with it, like I have with every movie.
Yeah.
But like I don't remember it being terrible.
No.
Whereas like I heard nothing good about this.
Yeah, which to be fair, I actually like both of these when I watch them. Although I do have more problems. I think I have actually a few more problems with First Class than I do Apocalypse. Because honestly, I think Apocalypse is like what I expected the X-Men movies to be like. Like even compared to like say like X2, which I really liked, but like because one of the things I think really helps these two is that they don't really like they have Wolverine in them, but he's cameos. And they don't really do like a whole lot. So it's really nice to just kind of let
off.
Yeah. It's really nice to just let the X-Men be the X-Men without Wolverine, which I know that's a weird thing to say, but like it's kind of nice to just see the X-Men doing stuff instead of being like side characters in their own movies, which I know Wolverine is an X-Men, but like you get what I mean, right? Like
yeah.
Like it's just kind of
when they were trying to shoehorn him into everything.
Which I feel like X-Men Origins Wolverine was one of the bigger reasons why they dialed back on him so much up until Logan.
Yeah.
Because like I think they thought that he was the problem, which he's not. It's just Bryan Singer's obsessed with that character. The point where he showed up in Apocalypse, I didn't even realize he was going to be in it.
Dude, imagine being in a theater and he shows up. I'm like, why the fuck is Wolverine here? Like, to quote my buddy Colin about this, because we were talking about this, because I told him we were getting ready to review this.
Yeah.
He's like, my buddy Colin was like, I remember like watching that and being like, oh, sweet, Wolverine's here. Why the fuck is Wolverine here?
I mean, it makes sense because they're going back to Lake Alkali because that's where he was turned into.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like you hear nothing from him after like Scott or Xavier and Magneto wanting to talk with him, and he just tells him to fuck off, which that was fucking hilarious and probably the funniest part of First Class.
The country needs you.
Fuck off.
I'm Canadian.
No, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, let's just go into the movie. So we'll talk with First Class just because, well, it's first. And so one of the things right away I really liked about First Class was I really love the fact that it really feels like it's in the 60s. And to be fair, Apocalypse feels like it's in the 80s too. So I think they get really down like doing like the timeline stuff.
Yeah, they're really good at getting the atmosphere right. You know, getting some tracks in there that are great. Like it really establishes like, hey, this is the time period we're in.
Yeah, and I also really love the guys they got for Magneto and Professor Xavier. Like Michael Fassbender is probably my like as much as I love Ian McDiarmid as Magneto. I really feel like Michael Fassbender really gets the character. He's really good.
James McAvoy?
Yeah, James McAvoy.
If I butchered that, I apologize.
James McAvoy. I love him as a young Charles Xavier. Like,
they are both fantastic.
Like they get the characters really, really well. And I think because as much as I love Ian McDiarmid's portrayal of Magneto, he's very much the early comics muhaha. Like,
and I will bring you hope. Yeah. Just don't get in my way.
Like they make him a lot more like evil than really I think Magneto should be. These here really get him more as like conflicted and broken from.
He wants to do good, but he's haunted by what happened to him in the Holocaust.
And I would be too if I had to sit through the opening to X-Men 1 again, like it does here. Like I'm popping this movie in, and the first thing I see, and I'm like,
thought I'd loaned you X-Men 1 again by accident.
I was like, this is just footage from X-Men 1, which, I mean, granted, I get why, because it's cheaper than just refilming, like, shit, the Auschwitz shit again. Like, why fucking do it again? After that, though, I really enjoyed it. I did have a little bit of a problem when they showed little Mystique, and she was completely naked again, and I'm like,
no thanks.
No thanks. This is really weird. This is really weird. Why'd you do this?
Not even a little creepy. It's just all around creepy.
I did love when she's trying to trick Charles into thinking that he's his mom. Crap. I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's a sweat bee. Don't worry about it. Bee flew in here, and I hate bees.
Well, I mean, you have a reason to. You're allergic to them. And I love when she's trying to trick him at the mom, and she's like, "My mother's never been set foot in this kitchen. The only time she makes me hot cocoa is when a servant does it." And I'm like, "Damn, I actually kind of feel bad for little Charles. He's old sad." But yeah, I really liked seeing the history of these two characters as they lead up to them forming the X-Men. And I think that was really, really good. Also really liked the fact we got to see Moira McTaggart in these movies instead of just being like a glorified cameo that she is in X-Men United. But like, you know, I really enjoyed it. It's like, so like for me, like I really liked a lot of things about it. Like I like that. I liked the style. I liked seeing them recruit different X-Men using the prototype Cerebro. I also really think that they did a really good job with like Hank and like some of the other mutants. With exceptions, there's a couple I kind of like I get frustrated with. Like as much as I like seeing young Mystique and her being like the sister of
like how half this episode is turned into Colton watches the bee, and I'm just waiting for it to get close enough I can fucking swat it.
But like I for me, one of the bigger weaknesses I feel like.
Oh no, he went out. Okay, cool, we're good.
Would be
crisis averted.
Would be Mystique. What are your opinions on like the newer version of Mystique that they did?
I have issues with it. I think Jennifer Lawrence does a great job with the material she's given.
I absolutely agree with that.
But
like nothing against the
actress.
actress.
These movies went on, I mean, I know you brought this up earlier, so I might paraphrase you a little bit. It just seemed like she got a little more annoying with each movie.
Yeah, like because like they,
which I blame as it really comes off yet again as they did not know what to do with her character.
Yeah, especially because for me, like one of the other things I found kind of creepy is like in First Class where she goes to Magneto like naked. And then like, I like the way where he's like, you know, like I prefer the real Raven because I like that because like he actually finds her more beautiful as her true form than she pretends. Like I actually
like watching that, it's like, oh, there's the meme.
But then she makes out with him and like it kind of implies they have sex, and I'm like, that's really weird because there's like a huge age gap between the two of them. Like, it's like,
oh, it's not just as creepy as fucking Rogue and Magneto banging in Age of Apocalypse, which, yes, I know there's some circumstances to that, but let's be honest here.
No, that was equally as fucking disturbing, because it's just like, could we not?
Could you not?
Like, but, like, to be fair, like, that part weirded me out, because I knew there was, like, a little bit of a weird romance thing with him and, like, with him and Mystique in the originals, which was an even more awkward age gap, seeing as how Ian McDermott is, like, in his like late 70s, early 80s in those films, and Mystique is like maybe 30.
I would say 30s.
But like, man, like here it's really weird because Michael Fassbender's like an adult and she's like maybe 18.
She was older than that.
Oh, maybe she was older than that. I don't know. Like, okay, I guess she'd have to be a little bit older because her and Charles are like the same age, but like. Or at least close to, so like she probably would be in like her 20s, but
Jennifer Lawrence is 30 years old.
I'm not talking about Jennifer Lawrence. I'm talking about the Mystique as the
character. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying.
But like, I guess she'd have to be because like Professor X does get his doctorate in this, so I guess they'd probably be mid to late 20s. It's just the age gap there is still a little weird, especially because like they have like almost no chemistry with each other, and we spend most of the film like having like setting up like Hank and Mystique, and then that goes basically nowhere in these movies too.
Well, no, it's all to lead up to the fact that Beast wants to kill Jean in Dark Phoenix.
Oh my God, no! Don't get me started. Also kind of like the way they set up.
If you want us to do a year or two after retrospective on Dark Phoenix, comment in the section below.
No, don't do that, because then I'm going to have to fucking rewatch that film.
No, we're not going to rewatch it. We're just going to share our thoughts again.
But yeah, I also do like the fact that they tie in Hank trying to cure his feet, while also trying to help Mystique. What were your thoughts on that? Because I know that's a little bit different, because I feel like that didn't happen in the comics.
It was different. I feel like it was probably... It worked for this movie... again, it kind of just got old when they kept pushing it. I argue it was the same deal as with the Rogue, Bobby, and Pyro love triangle in the original trilogy. It just got old after the first movie.
Well, I meant more about like Hank like curing himself because of him.
I thought you were talking about.
But that's fine too.
I liked that as well. I mean, I liked that it made sense.
Yeah.
You know, because that's basically how he turns into the blue beast we all know and loved. Is that he was trying to cure how he looked, and it went off the rails.
Remember complains they had to put in this thing where Hank somehow got medicine that allows him to stay non-beast because like clearly the actor didn't want to get all painted and furred up. So, like, they clearly had to constantly... Like, he could only be, like, Beast for, like, 5 minutes at the end of Apocalypse and the end of this movie. So it was really kind of... really jarring just because, like, Hank would be normal, and then the next minute he'd be... Beast. Also really like them showing, like, the training that, like, Professor X did with them. Like I liked Hank building, like, gadgets in case, like, their powers couldn't be trained by normal means. Like... them actually showing Havoc getting the weird disc thing that you normally see Havoc with on his chest. That was kind of cool. I also love Magneto just straight up wants Professor Xavier to shoot him in the fucking head so he can stop it with his magnetic powers. I'm like, bro, I get that you're confident, but I certainly wouldn't.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Yeah, like I don't care how like good my powers are. I wouldn't have Colton put a fucking gun to my head and be like, fucking shoot me. Like, I just wouldn't do that. Also, like, the fact that they finally did the Hellfire Club, making them more the actual villains.
Yeah, granted... Oh, my God, this is where I really get... I get pissed. They nerfed the Hellfire Club so fucking bad.
Yeah.
In this, which is someone who, like, really likes the Hellfire Club, because Dark Phoenix is my favorite X-Men comic storyline.
Yeah.
I had the big-ass hardback omnibus of that thing.
Yeah, no.
In addition to, I have I'm looking for the novel, and I have the regular trade. That's like, I have the big-ass Marvel Legends Hellfire Club set, which was a Pulse exclusive. Like, so I like the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
And the portrayal of them in this movie it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, for one, they get rid of the whole, like, they like to dress up in, like, 1800s style, like, apparel. In fact, it's really jarring whenever January Jones is just in her underwear a lot of the times. Like, I get it because it was the 60s and, like, go-go girls used to dress like that. Which I did like the scene where Moira McTaggart's, like takes all her clothes off to go in and, like, her agent's like, what are you doing? Using some training the CIA didn't teach me. And she just walks in her underwear. Just that part was kind of clever, and I like seeing Moira get to do stuff. But no, like, it's really lame because, like... pretty much all of them are not nearly as powerful as, like, I feel like they were in the books.
Yeah, like there's no way that, like, Emma is, like, anywhere near as powerful as she is in the comics in these movies.
There's that, like...
Because, it's just another case, like, they just continue to nerf characters.
Yeah.
Because they realize some of them are, like, way too OP.
Which, come Apocalypse, they decided, you know what, fuck that. Let's just show Magneto using his magnetic powers to rip the entire planet to pieces, which I'm like, okay. You've pretty much made that Magneto is unbeatable in these films, but okay. Then, like, once again, we get both of Nightcrawler's parents in this movie. We get Azazel and Mystique in the same film. And nothing comes of that. Like, I
told you, it's because Fox doesn't want to do that.
I mean,
they're like,
fair.
That's dumb. We don't want to do that.
I mean, fair, but, like, it's just kind of frustrating that, like, we get all these, like, characters, and and granted, like, maybe it's just because, like, I've accepted that the X-Men are basically one big fucked up soap opera where everybody's banged everybody else.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like, it's just... It would be nice to get a little bit more explanation for Nightcrawler than just he's a mutant. Because, like, literally him and Azazel have the exact same powers. I mean, granted, I didn't expect them to do Azazel's a fucking demon. Because that... We don't need to go into that. Like, once you do that, then, like, Jubilee gets turned into a fucking vampire in these movies. And we don't need that.
That would make them, like, actually have to do Jubilee in these movies for, like, more than, like, 25 minutes.
No. When we get to Apocalypse, that actually pissed me off, because I like Jubilee. I know a lot of people don't, but I actually like her. I find her cute. But no, and I also have to admit, I don't think January Jones is a very good Emma Frost. Like, she's very...
I think the lady they had playing her in the Generation X movie was actually better. kind of sad.
No, it really is. Like, it's also really confusing because this Mystique or Emma is way older than the Emma from X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I know it's because the timeline changed. But if you didn't know that this was a different timeline, you're probably going in there like, what?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. What is she supposed to be like the same age as Scott? Which is also she's also older than Scott now. Which I'm like, oh man, I hope they do MILF Emma Frost and Scott. I want her to rob that cradle. But no, not only that, like the only Hellfire Club members I even knew in this was Sebastian Shaw and Emma. Like I didn't think Azazel was a member of the Hellfire Club. I didn't know who the fuck that wind guy was. Did they even give him a name in that movie?
I don't think so.
No, he's just dude with wind powers. Don't know what that's about. Also hate that like pretty much this movie and Apocalypse keep doing this plot of wanting to fucking start a nuclear apocalypse. Because in this, it's literally like Sebastian Shaw is responsible for the Cuban Missile Crisis. Because he literally convinces America to build missiles in Turkey, which I'm pretty sure was that actually historically accurate?
Yes, we did have nuclear missiles in Turkey. It was actually part, again, putting the history cap on. It was actually part of the deal Kennedy struck with Khrushchev to end the crisis. Was basically, they were, wheeling and dealing, and Kennedy's like, okay, listen, what if we dismantle our missiles in Turkey and you fucking get rid of the ones in Cuba?
Okay.
And Khrushchev was like, this is acceptable.
Oh, so, okay. Okay. Because basically he wanted that the two have nukes right next to each other and will blow themselves up so that, because he believes, well, we're the children of the atom, so we're just going to speed up mutants being a thing. Which I'm like,
okay.
I don't think he really thought this through. And so basically it turns into like a spy thriller, which is probably why I liked it so much more than you, just because like I was like, oh, this is like a spy thriller, but with the X-Men. I'm kind of all right with this.
Felt like I was watching Discount James Bond.
No, my favorite part is that Shaw has a fucking submarine that he spends the entire film in. Like once he leaves the Hellfire Club, him and the rest of the Hellfire Club members are just in this submarine, which I'm like, okay. I also love that he has the Magneto helmet because the Russians gave it to him because I guess either they know about psychics or just Shaw was like, well, I already have a psychic. I don't need a psychic on the good guy's side to do it. The Hellfire Club is just lame. Like I felt no sadness when Magneto fucking put that Nazi mark through his fucking head. That shit was fucking satisfying, and I loved it a lot.
I know. I remember he was live texting me his reactions to the film as he was watching it. And he's like, damn, I know I'm supposed to feel horrified at what Magneto's doing, but he's doing it to a Nazi, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I'm like, I would watch a whole movie of Magneto just murdering Nazis.
Give me a whole movie of him just fucking murdering Nazis. I'm like, that's like film of the year to me.
Oh my god, that scene where he's in Argentina with the two Nazis, and he's talking, and like, they're like, I'm a pig farmer, and I was a shoe... Really, because my family was taken from me by a pig farmer and a shoemaker. And then he just fucking murders them. Like, I love when he throws the knife in the bartender, and he pulls it back with his magnet powers and slits the other dude's throat. And then he makes the one dude shoot himself with the Luger.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Magneto, you fucking cold. Fucking love it.
Need more of that kind of Magneto.
Oh my god. And I also really like the idea, and I know, like, the idea that, like, they name themselves the X-Men after being hired by the CIA to deal with the mutants that are trying to start World War III. Because, like more is like, you're like G-Men, but without the G. X-Men. And, like, I actually kind of like that idea that that's where the name comes from, to kind of give it a little bit more, which I'm sure that's not how it is in actually the books.
No.
But otherwise, as a whole, I thought this was really cool. And I really think the effects really hold up in this too.
Yeah, from what I remember of the stuff what I remember watching, I remember them holding up very, very well.
Yeah.
I probably should have rewatched this, but given how much I dislike this movie,
that's fair.
I was just like, I'm not rewatching that.
Like is that scene at the end where Magneto lifts the fucking submarine out of the water, and like the scene where he's trying to send the missiles back, and they constantly have to knock him around to keep him from firing them back to like kill everybody. I thought that was really cool and really, really looks like they're actually there. like that was really, really cool. I also really like the redesign for the Blackbird in this, to make it more look like an actual like 60s jet.
Well, it looks a lot like a U-2 spy plane.
Yeah, like it looks
which
really,
the Blackbird
really cool.
was actually the replacement for.
Well, yeah. Well, especially because like it's supposed to be like Hank, because Hank builds this thing. I was actually kind of sad when it gets blown up in Apocalypse and they get that stupid looking weird bird jet thing that they fly around in that. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's like an actual bird-shaped jet. That was really cool. But a Blackbird's way cooler. But also,
I think a lot of that was because kids nowadays don't know what a fucking Blackbird is.
I mean, fair. But like this is made for X-Men fans. We all know what the Blackbird is.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually really like that. I actually really like the scene where like all the teen mutants are like partying around with their powers and they get all mad that like they like when Moira and Xavier get mad that they like wreck shit. I'm like, this is like the first time they've ever been allowed to actually just use their powers without being like afraid they're gonna get like lynched or some shit. Let them enjoy this a little bit. Like the training can come in a little bit. Like they should be allowed to actually enjoy their powers. But I guess if you want me to get into the parts that I really didn't like, speaking of I really hated when Shaw murdered Darwin. For those of you who don't know, in the comics, Darwin is actually this really powerful mutant whose ability is he can adapt to things. Like literally, he cannot be killed because his body can adapt to whatever's being thrown at him. And here he just gets like Havoc tries to kill Shaw, or try to stop him. Shaw, with his weird, turns him into like multiple bodies, that was really weird how he absorbs stuff. Like he like gets like multiple arms and it like pulls the energy into him. Which I'm like, weird flex, but okay. And then he takes the energy from Havoc and shoves it down Darwin's throat. And then he like melts? Which I'm like, but wouldn't his body just adapt to that?
It's a plot hole.
No, I get it. Because, like, he's too powerful if he were to just adapt to everything, I guess. Which, again, come Apocalypse, Magneto can, like, fucking rip the planet apart. But whatever. I didn't like that. I also really didn't care for the Angel character with the wings. Especially for when they call her Angel, and I'm like, that's not Angel. That's certainly not the Angel I know. Because I assumed that she was going to be like Pixie or like some, like, it's one of the other fairy winged X-Men that I know of.
Yeah.
But no, it's just Angel. That and the fact that, like, it's such a shame, like, most of the Hellfire Club, bar Shaw and Frost, get, like, no character development. We see nothing, like, character-wise for the Cyclone dude or Azazel, which, again, like, even if we didn't want to have Raven be Nightcrawler's mom, we could have still did something with Azazel. It's just a shame that we don't really get anything after this. Because, once again, after this movie, pretty much all these characters disappear. Bar, like, Charles's group. After that, we never see Azazel again, the Cyclone dude again. We never see the Magneto outfit that he has at the end of this. I saw it from, like, some stock footage, but even then, I don't think this is exactly the same one.
We'll just tally in it. We never see Gambit again either.
We never see comic book accurate costumes except for, like, the 5 fucking seconds in these movies. Like, that pissed me off about this and Apocalypse.
That would probably be my chief complaint with any of the Fox movies. Is I'm like, stop fucking teasing me with these costumes. Either do it or don't fucking show them. I mean, like, I don't want teased. I want you to actually show it. As a positive, for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. As a positive here, at least, like, the X-Men here get to have, like, sort of like a kind of version of the outfits that the original...
The black and gold.
Yeah. And I liked seeing Banshee in his actual outfit. Shame Banshee has, like, almost no character in this, despite the fact I actually like Banshee. And it's, like, one of the few X-Men that I actually fucking know. But... like, yeah, that part pisses me off. I didn't like the fact that Magneto is the reason why Xavier loses his legs. That seemed a little forced. I also didn't like that Professor Xavier erases Moira's memories. I was like, fucking why? Like, Moira would not tell the CIA anything. And if you're that worried, why don't you just ask Moira, do you care if I just make you have like a memory block of stuff unless like I need you to remember it. Like, or maybe be like, you can't tell anyone, like, but like you can't say it. Like, there's ways of doing it without completely erasing Moira from your life. Given how much he actually had like a decent romance with her in this. But yeah. Then I remember I was texting this to you as I was live chatting. I was like, oh no, that Magneto helmet looks like ass. Because like they put the weird horn thingy that Magneto had in the early appearances. And like I don't mind it in 2D, but 3D it looks
like ass.
Looks fucking goofy. And he has and Emma joins the Brotherhood of Mutants. Don't see her after this movie. So yeah, that was First Class, and I liked a lot about it, but it definitely has like hiccups. Like it definitely has the Bryan Singer sort of, I don't really care about these characters, so I'm just gonna do what the fuck ever until eventually Fox lets me the fuck go. Like I like as I've been watching these movies, it just shows me that Bryan Singer just hated doing this shit. And just would rather have just been done with it and moved on. But like, it frustrates me a lot. Do you want any final thoughts before we move on to the Apocalypse?
I think you really nailed whatever I would have to say.
Like, it has good points to it, but it has some teething issues. It really does feel like it has a lot of problems with it. Which honestly I think are fixed in the next movie we're talking about. So if you want to kind of talk about this before
Look at that nice holographic cover.
That is really nice.
Yeah, so this was the follow-up to this. This is after Days of Future Past, so yes, we are doing these out of order, but to be fair, again, Days deserves its own separate episode.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's the finale of the original X-Men timeline, so it really does deserve to come after these, just because it's going to be like the last we talk about the original timeline.
And so, like I said, I went and saw this in the theater, opening month, and I really, really liked it. Now, mind you, when I went into it, you want to know the last X-Men movie I had watched prior to this?
Oh, God. What was it? Oh, X-Men Last Stand.
That was the last one I had watched. But I had seen parts of Origins, but like after that, I had kind of fallen off the wagon for a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably because, again, Origins was such ass.
No, yeah.
So, but, my buddies were like, hey, we're going to go see X-Men. You want to come with? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So we went and watched this. I remember really liking this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought this was enjoyable. I had fun watching it. You know, it was like a good couple hours of me just turning my mind off and watching it.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, years later being, like, kind of shocked that it's like, what do you mean people didn't like this?
I just remember a lot of the reviews and stuff that I watched saying they didn't really care for it, which...
And I've had so many people be like, I had a guy that I used to, race in a NASCAR league with tell me that like this was the worst X-Men movie he had ever seen.
Yeah,
he thought this was worse than Dark Phoenix.
Which I'm sorry.
Watch the same fucking movie.
Yeah, this is way better than Dark Phoenix. But yeah, so going into this, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be very good. So I kind of was putting it off a little bit. Well, not really putting it off a little bit. I basically was like, oh, we're gonna film again, Colton. Sunday? Okay, I can.
You can binge them Saturday night.
I can binge them like... Well, actually, I did them Friday and Saturday, but I put this on, I'm like, I don't really get why people think this is so bad. I actually had a good time. Like, it has some flaws, but...
I think the biggest issue was this movie had the same issue that Dark Phoenix and New Mutants had, which was this came out late in the game, and everybody was pissy because this isn't an MCU film, so it's going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah, because like that has been a thing with like pretty much any superhero film that comes out that's not MCU. Like that was.
We're not counting DC because the issues with the DC community are entirely separate matter.
Yeah, thanks in no part to the studio being like, well, you know, we're just intellectual and we do things a different way here at DC.
Like, yeah, you guys do shit that doesn't make you any fucking money.
The way you do things differently is that you're ass. That's my AVGN impersonation.
But yeah, like I've never gotten the hatred for this movie. No, I never have. I don't understand it.
To be fair, I do remember when they revealed what Apocalypse was going to look like. I remember a lot of that was a big source of contention for a lot of people, and probably one of the few things I really have to agree with. Because for those of you who don't remember, when Apocalypse came out, like we got pictures of Apocalypse. most everyone, and especially if you grew up with the TV show I'm going to talk about, thought he looked like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. Which I remember I made a lot of jokes about Apocalypse in that time. Now, I've definitely warmed up to the design. I still don't really like it. For me, it looks kind of cheap. And especially when this was coming out and we were getting like Thanos and like a lot of the Marvel bad guys actually looked cool. He looked really cheap, and I feel bad saying that because I enjoyed the film otherwise, and I love the actor's portrayal of Apocalypse. He is pretty much what I remember of Apocalypse from the cartoon, where he's like, I am humanity's next stage. I am your god. I am Apocalypse. Gaze at one who is your superior. Like, he is basically comic book Apocalypse. Like, he chews so much fucking scenery in this movie, and he's really good. But man, the makeup effects make him look shit. And that's actually probably my only really big problem with this movie. Because otherwise, I had a good time. Would you like to try and counter, or would you?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't think the design for this is the greatest. I don't think it's terrible, but it could have been a fuck ton better.
Like, I wish at least wish they did something to make him look like really tall.
Yeah, and I mean, like, again, we don't really get the costumes in here. I mean, the X-Men have like these black, like, stealth suit looking things that are okay. I mean, no. Magneto's got his costume.
We get Psylocke.
Yeah, Psylocke's in her actual.
We get super comic book accurate Psylocke, which
this actress still has the sword from this movie. She did a when the pandemic started, she did a TikTok about that. Yeah. She still has it.
I would love for her if we're ever gonna get Psylocke again. I'd love for her to come back because she was
great. I enjoyed her as Psylocke.
Like, we got a decent look for Archangel.
Storm does more in this movie than she does in Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, although it's such a shame because they get her right. We get 80s Storm with the mohawk, and she's like a thief at first.
She got like the punk rock look going.
And she has maybe like 5 lines in this film, which is such a shame because I love Storm. She's probably one of my favorite X-Men besides like Wolverine and like Colossus and Nightcrawler and Gambit, obviously. But like, she barely does anything, and I love this actress more for her than Halle Berry, which says something because Halle Berry is quite hot. But no, like that and like, yeah, like once again we only get costumes for the X-Men the very fucking end, and like Last Stand, it also introduces Sentinels for like 5 minutes in the Danger Room. Why? Just give me Sentinels. I just want to see robots getting ripped to pieces.
You have to remember, they've done them at this point.
I know they have, but
so like, Fox was like, we're not wasting the money to do it again.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, I already can sell you. You didn't spend money on Apocalypse. Why don't you just take some of that money and put it in the sentence?
Fox, how about you shut the fuck up and buy the movie?
Fuck you, Fox. Why do you gotta hurt me like that? But anyway.
But yeah, no, I
know you're kin, but at least you agree with me a little bit.
No, I do agree. Again, it goes right back to the biggest thing I've had with this is that they tease the fucking costumes all the fucking time. And it's fucking ignorant that they never do them. And I know some people out there are going to be like, well, you can't do all of the comic book stuff because it won't look right. It's a comic book movie. It's going to look ridiculous.
And
it doesn't have to look 100% realistic all the time.
And if I may
do the goddamn costumes.
And if I may counter, this came out around the same time as like the MCU, who could do comic book accurate stuff. Like, yeah, they would have to do some alternates to make them more fit in with it, like because some things just don't translate from paper to real life.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Fox was just like, we just don't want to do it.
Like fucking Iron Man came out. Like I never thought they could do Iron Man until those movies, and he looks great. Like I'm not saying it has to be completely 1-to-1, but like, why can't we just fucking have Cyclops? Like Cyclops' outfit isn't even like goofy looking. Like, yeah, I don't want the fucking head sock, but like, you can't put a fucking like bandolier across his chest. Like you can't just put a fucking X unit right there. You can't have him in yellow gloves. Like I'm not asking for like fucking Marvel Girl. You could do 90s Jean Grey's outfit. Like
yeah, like you said, that was always a huge point of contention with me with these movies. Is that I'm just like it wasn't even like they did it once or twice. It's every fucking movie.
Because like
it's like stop doing. And I remember everybody being like, "Stop fucking doing that."
Because before
it's not funny.
Because before this, we had the Wolverine where they had the deleted scene where they were going to give him the Wolverine costume, and fuck's sake, we had Wolverine his Weapon X outfit in this. He was actually allowed to wear the fucking goofy helmet and like the weird wires and shit. And again, we had Psylocke in what is basically just a one-piece bikini and thigh highs. So why can't we do actual fucking costumes? Like that, and like it's so inconsistent is what pisses me off. Because sometimes we get to have the costumes and sometimes we don't. Like for fuck's sake, we couldn't even have Archangel be blue.
I know there's like a lot of this stuff I remember at the time was they're like, well, the casual viewers. I'm like, fuck the casual viewers. I'm gonna say that a thousand times over. And who fucking cares? It's a comic movie. My biggest argument for anybody saying that, well, you can't do the costumes. Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can make a movie with a dude in a bat suit and it looks fucking real, there is no excuse other than you are lazy.
I'll do you one better. Fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, he dresses in a red and blue suit.
Daredevil.
It couldn't be done. Again, as this was coming out, the MCU was at like its like zenith. It like they were doing pretty accurate costumes. For fuck's sake, I think Ant-Man came out the same time as this. Fucking Ant-Man. The dude talks to ants.
Like I said, I will never at all ever let that argument go. Is that like, well, they couldn't do it. I'm like, there's no fucking excuse why they couldn't do it.
You know what this looks like when you do it? It looks like 2017 Power Rangers, and those costumes look like shit too. I don't care how much the fucking community tries to defend those costumes to me. It looks like ass.
Well, we've gone on this rant about fuck it, do the costumes. Like I said, the Apocalypse design looks bad. I don't like that they tease this shit and they don't follow up on it. But other than that, I mean, I have more moments in this movie that I really, really enjoy than like moments I don't like.
Yeah, I actually like the fact that we get to have Havoc and Cyclops, even if it's only for a small bit.
Yeah,
like it's nice to see
that they acknowledge that Quicksilver's like, Magneto might be my dad.
Yeah, and he just wants to talk to him. Shame again that goes nowhere because Disney bought them out, and that gets pretty much dropped by the wayside after this movie.
Although they're trying to bring that back in the comics now. So
well, I know they're finally just admitting that Magneto, like, even if Wanda and Pietro aren't actually his like biological kids, he still fucking raised them. Although I mean, at least that was what I got from when I was reading that panel. But I was like, it's about fucking time, Marvel. I don't even know why you fucking bothered doing that in the first place.
I feel like that was a Disney mandate.
It probably was, and I'm like, no one's gonna get confused by that. Like, casuals don't read comics, so they're not gonna fucking care if, like, down the line we say Magneto is their parents.
Yeah.
But, like, I like that. I like the fact we got, like, once again, a really good Nightcrawler, because I like this Nightcrawler just as much as I liked Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler.
I really like the Quicksilver in this movie.
Oh my god, the Quicksilver in this is great.
I adore Sophie Turner as Jean Grey.
Yeah, she was really good as Jean Grey. I actually kind of think I like her a little bit more than
Fonk.
But that's more because like I feel like Fonk was chosen just because she's sexy, and which again, nothing against her actress. I love her a lot, but it's just like whenever she was allowed to be Jean, a lot of the times they were just making her either like turn into the Phoenix and then she'd like be like sexy, or she just really is in the background, which is a shame because I liked Fonk as Jean. I kind of like this Jean a little bit more just because I feel like she's a little bit more like the Jean from the comics, where she's a little bit more of a firecracker. I actually think that they actually get down her relationship with Scott pretty well in this and the later films. I think they both have really good chemistry together.
Yeah, I would love to see them bring them back.
Yeah, it'd be nice
when they reboot X-Men. But I don't. They probably won't.
Yeah. I really, really liked pretty much the entire scene of Quicksilver rescuing everyone. Like, I loved it. I loved the fact that they did it to Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by the Eurythmics. Like, I actually found that really cute and really funny. Although, one of the kids snuck a dog into the school, which I'm like, how'd you get that dog in here? Like, there's no way Professor X couldn't read your mind and know you snuck a dog in here. That is impressive. I really like the actress they have for Storm. I think she does a really good job. I like that they did a little bit more stuff that, like, from the comics. Like, I like the dude that, like, Storm takes Apocalypse to. His name is, like, Caliburn, I think, which I think he is from the comics. At least I remember a Caliburn. I also really liked the plot with Magneto hiding out in Poland, I think it was.
In Poland. Where
he's working as, like, as a metallurgist, and he had, like, a family, and his daughter could talk to animals. Where that scene where, like, his daughter's like, I won't let them take you, and the fucking birds just start freaking the fuck out. I was like, oh my god, is this gonna turn like a horror film where the birds, like, kill these cops? And then we get one of the scenes I really hated was where the policeman, because, like, they didn't bring metal weapons, so they brought bows and arrows, which I'm like, you guys do know that most arrows come with, like, metal tips, right?
Well, around that time, they were starting to experiment with plastic tips, so they're probably plastic tipped.
Well, I don't know if they were plastic tips, because, like, they kill Magneto's daughter and mom and wife with one arrow, and I'm like,
some of those plastic tips are like that.
Oh, some of them can actually do that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Because, like, otherwise I was just like, damn. I mean, granted, he was using a longbow, and I know longbows have, like, a lot of power behind them. But
yeah.
Even so, that scene was ridiculous, where they both get shot with they both die from an arrow. I'm like, damn. Like, that seemed a little harsh. And then, of course, Magneto murders all those cops. He's just like, is this who I am? And once again, Magneto has to be evil. I'm like, couldn't we just let Magneto, like, be a good guy?
Bryan Singer. No.
I mean, granted, the fact that he was going to just bring that entire smelting factory down around those motherfuckers, who, for the record, outed him because he saved a dude during the earthquake when Apocalypse wakes up. I'm like, damn. You couldn't have just been like, you know what? He saved our lives. We'll just not talk about it.
People are assholes.
No, I know, because this is Marvel, and every single fucking human in the Marvel universe has to just be an asshole about mutants every single fucking time. Even the mutants that, like, aren't even doing anything. Like, or the ones where their mutant powers aren't really that scary, if I'm being honest.
Aren't people like that in real life?
No, I know. Just, like, not everybody, though. Like, it's more, instead of some assholes, it's all assholes. Like, to quote Spaceballs, I can't believe this. I'm surrounded by assholes.
So, I guess we should start tying this up. Rating wise, okay. So, First Class. Gonna give it a 6 out of 10, and I feel like I'm being generous. I mean, I'm in a generous mood today. Apocalypse, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10.
I'd probably give Apocalypse an 8, because I actually had a lot of fun, even though I didn't like certain things. Like, I really didn't fucking like that scene where Angel just dies in a fucking plane crash. That shit was bullshit. But I think it was really fun, and it did kind of what I've been wanting with these X-Men films, where it's just the X-Men fighting a bad guy, where it's not Magneto for the 800th time. I mean, it's technically Magneto again, but Apocalypse is really the big bad of this film. I probably will agree with you and give First Class a 7 out of 10.
I said 6 out of 10.
Oh, well, okay. I'm probably going to up it up to a little bit of 7, just because I at least liked the stuff with Magneto and Professor X enough that I can kind of forgive a lot of the bigger flaws with it, and at least, like, we kind of got, like, the costumes of the first X-Men team, and at least we got to have, like, a pretty decent origin for Magneto and Professor X, since they couldn't do the Origins line anymore because of how bad Wolverine was. But yeah, I definitely think if you're going to watch First Class, at least watch Apocalypse after. Because otherwise, I feel like First Class is a little bit of a disappointment.
Or better yet, just watch Days.
Or better yet, just watch Days, yeah. No, I'd probably agree with you there, even though I haven't seen it yet. Just watch Days.
Yeah, so
it's a way better film.
Thank you for tuning in for this episode, guys. Tune in next time for when we hit episode 100.
Well, actually, we're at 99.
This is 99.
Oh, this is 99?
This is 99.
Oh, so we're going to do Days and Logan as...
We're going to do Logan and then Days.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Spoiler alert, we're doing Logan for episode 100.
Okay, my bad. I didn't realize...
I'm pretty sure. My numbering might be off, so if not...
If not Days, the Future Past is next.
Either way,
tune
in next time, guys, for more The Good, the Bad, and the Wolverine.
But
As
until
always,
then, guys...
I'm Average Joe Squad.
I'm sorry for stepping on your line.
I can't believe you stepped...
You went over my helmet.
over my helmet.
I'm Zuggets 134.
I'm Average Joe Squad.
And as always, fuck.
Charles!
Just say the line. Say the line. Just say the line.
You will never know how much you've hurt me this day.
I'm sorry, man.
Anyway, guys, I'm Average Joe Squad. And as always,
we ask you,
remember the hyphen.
And take care.
And remember, everybody is an asshole.